Got this question in my Twitter replies yesterday, ironically, from our show's own Twitter accounts. I'm not sure if somebody here at the company stole the password, got in there, but nevertheless, thought it was so intriguing. Jack, was this you? Did you ask this question? Might have been the interns. Who knows? Intriguing question that I'll answer here in a second. Better Michigan football team, the current 2023 number 2 ranked Wolverines, or the 1997 last time Michigan won the national champion, the 97 Wolverines with Heisman Trophy winner Charles Woodson? I will answer that question here in a moment, but I am wearing the commuter collection from Rhone today. That's RHONE. Go to rhone.com/chatsports. Use promo code chatsports for 20% off the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of clothes known to man. Before we jump back into that question there, quick favor for you guys. If you can, just like the video. We've hacked YouTube's algorithm. We found out if we can get to 100 likes within the first hour, this video will do like 40% more audience. So if you can, if you're liking the show, watch it within the first hour of us publishing it, hit that like button, help the show out, put it in front of more Michigan football fans here on YouTube. Back to @ChatWolverines. Follow them. Also follow me. It's @James Yoder. If you're watching the show on YouTube and you haven't followed me on Twitter yet, what are you doing with yourself? It's an intriguing question. If you look back, I mean, they're about the same through 6 games. Michigan had really dominated defensively, kept every opponent under 10 games this year, same as 1997. You've had higher scoring games these last two. You're scoring in the 40s, then in the 50s, than you did in 1997, or the first 4 games for the Wolverines this year. So I don't think this is something that we're going to know until the end of the season. I think you could probably make an argument that all in from a depth perspective, NFL talent and offensive skill position talent, it's the 2023 Wolverines, but there's no Charles Woodson on this team. Maybe Will Johnson grows into that as he's only halfway through his true sophomore year. But I'll leave it up to you guys, the Michigan Football Report audience. Just let me know. I'm going to pin this comment below the video. Better Michigan football team. Let's just say not now. Not right now. Let's look forward after the season, January 10th, what you think we will be saying then. So go down, reply to the pinned comment right below the video. Just reply 2023, 2023, or 1997. You are watching the Michigan Football Report mailbag. I am your host, James Yoder from Chat Sports. Got a bunch of great questions. Might have to do 2 mailbags this week because I didn't even get to our Instagram questions here on the show. Saw this one come in, though, on YouTube. And I really wanted to address it. He says, I think at this point, Penn State away game is UM's biggest game of the year. Not Ohio State. I'm not sure about that. That being said, it needs to be all hands on deck movement to get Michigan in the playoffs, ranked number 1, just to get the nod over Georgia. I don't know how much that really matters because I think whether Michigan's number 1 or number 2, if Georgia's the other one, then I think we're going to be looking at, unfortunately, is Michigan's going to end up at the same place. That's Pasadena for the Rose Bowl. Other game, New Orleans, Sugar Bowl. Georgia's going to take that one, and I think Michigan's not going to say, oh, well, geographically, Georgia, the Sugar Bowl is closer. We're going to take that. If Michigan's the number 1 seed, I think they're going to go out to Pasadena where they played, dozens of Rose Bowls over the years. So I don't really know what it matters. Only reason it would matter 1 versus 2 is if the difference in talent between number 3 and number 4 were just so drastically vast like they have been in years past. Ironically, though, Michigan may have lucked out getting the number 2 seed last year. Georgia, number 1, had to face Ohio State. Michigan got TCU, who was number 3 seed at the time. Seemed like that would be a better matchup for Michigan. Unfortunately, did not turn out to be that way. Question coming in from our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/HarbaughGoBlue. Join 72,000 Michigan football fans by following us there. He says, hot take meter, scale of 1 to 10. 1 mild take, likely to happen. 10 being a piping hot take. Donovan Edwards will score 0 touchdowns during the regular season. 6 more scheduled games during the regular season on this one. Look, I'm going a hot take of 9. I mean, if that happens, that will be the hottest of take that Donovan Edwards, some people had him as a first, maybe second-round draft pick, depending how things shook out with him. If he scores 0 touchdowns the rest of the season, something's going to go drastically wrong with his play and the play of this Michigan football offense, the play calling. So I'm going with a 9 on that one. If that turns out to happen, folks, my mind will be absolutely blown. I think I predicted he'd have 11 or 12 touchdowns. Biggest storyline, I think, of this season in a, what's going on time, framework is what's been going on with the Don. Has yet to have a 100-yard game, has yet to have a touchdown all season long. You notice this awesome shirt. This is from Rhone. The Michigan Football Report is presented by Rhone. Guys, I'm sure you are just like me and have a social life, parenting responsibilities. Heck, even like to hit the golf course sometimes while on company time. Well, I've got the solution to the hassle of changing clothes between your daily activities. It's the Commuter Collection from Roan. Athletic dress pants, shirts, and apparel. Men's clothes were due for a radical reinvention, and Roan stepped up to the challenge. As I mentioned, I'm wearing the commuter shirt from Roan. I've also got the commuter pants, both part of the Commuter Collection, the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man. You never have to worry about what you wear when you have the Roan Commuter Collection on. With its wrinkle release technologies, wrinkles disappear as you stretch and wear the products. It's that easy. Also, Roan has Gold Fusion anti-odor technology for you smelly guys out there. Guys getting little armpit stains out there. Gold Fusion technology takes care of that. You'll be smelling fresh and clean all day long. On top of that, it's 100% machine washable, so you can ditch the dry cleaner altogether. I've been wearing Roan for about a year now. Their pants look awesome. People always grab. These pants are so comfortable, James. You want to touch your legs, a little weird sometimes. But the shirt, check this shirt out. It was completely wrinkled when I put it on right before we're filming today. It looks great now, right? You can stretch this bad boy out. Look at this. You can put a tie on it, wear it with a dress shirt, wear it with shorts. It is amazing. They've also got great polos, quarter zips, pants, everything. The Commuter Collection from Roan can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. Head over to roan.com/chatsports. Use promo code chatsports. Save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order. RHONE.com/chatsports. Use code chatsports. You got the link down in the comments and the description of today's video. It's time to find your corner office comfort. Going back to the hot take scale from Justin McMaster, scale of 1 to 10, take number 2. And he had a few of these that I really liked, so I wanted to address all of them. Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson are the second best wide receiver duo in the Big Ten. I thought all these were kind of hot takes right now, and it really depends on how you look at it, statistically or just talent-wise. I think talent-wise, you got to give it to Emeka Egbuka, Marvin Harrison Jr. at Ohio State. But if you're just looking at it statistically, I'm going 6. It's not as hot of a take. Harrison Jr. had a breakout game, really great game this past week for Ohio State against Maryland. Egbuka came out of the locker room after the game with a boot on his leg, so he might miss a game too. I haven't really heard much speculation on that injury. So you could look at the end of the season. Roman Wilson ends up with 14, 15 touchdowns. Cornelius Johnson makes 800, 700 yards, something like that. They could statistically, and that's what I'm grading this on. I think talent-wise, I think you're going to have to go with Ohio State, maybe a school or two other than that. But maybe statistically, given the hot start they have, it could be Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson. Justin's keeping the hot takes flowing here on the Michigan Football Report. Is take number 3. Michigan's first-team defense will not give up more than 17 points in a single regular season game all year. If this happens, this is the greatest football team of all time from a regular season perspective. The 2017 Warriors, something like that, one of the greatest teams in sports history, if you don't give up 17 points in a regular season. Now, he does say first-team defense. This first-team defense, the most they've given up in a game this year is the 10 points they gave up in the first half against Minnesota this past Saturday night. So maybe not crazy to think, but if you hold Ohio State and Penn State, and I know you got Michigan State, Indiana this weekend, Maryland, if you hold all those teams 17 or under 17 points, I think you're looking at just one of the greatest defensive performances over a 12-game stretch that we've ever seen in this sport. I think it's the last one, Jack, last one from the hot take meter. Michigan Stadium will have Wi-Fi by the Texas game, September 7th, 2024. Quick math, that's like 330 days almost exactly. I think it's 330 days from now. That's on a scale of 1 to 10. That is 10 trillion, right? There's no way Michigan's going to have Wi-Fi. It's the biggest black eye that the school has, that the University of Michigan has, that the athletic department, that the football team has. But I will say this. So it's unlikely to happen, Justin. But I like the question. Clearly you watch the show. You know my Wi-Fi rants over the past 4 years. I was told I was going to film a post-game show, Michigan Rutgers, right? I went to the Notre Dame-Ohio State game a few weeks ago. Get a tailgate thing. Oh, the internet is amazing in South Bend, and if it's not, you can just go close to the stadium. They've got Wi-Fi repeaters. Wi-Fi in the stadium's great. No different than Michigan. Absolutely no different than Michigan at all. You can get a text maybe. Every 30 minutes your text would go through. You couldn't send a picture. You couldn't post anything to your Instagram story. You couldn't take a video and text it to your friends. Absolute trash at Notre Dame. Michigan the same. I don't know what these schools have to do. I mean, you don't want to sit in a polar vortex of Stone Age with your iPhone on a Saturday afternoon. There's other games going on. And you want to know what's going on with other teams in the top 10, etc. I just can't stand it. Frankly, it's making me want to go to football games less and less as technology improves. I can watch my games on my phone anywhere I'm at, except when I'm within a quarter mile of any college football game in the year 2023. Absolute shame, and frankly, it needs to be addressed ASAP. Go back to that Donovan Edwards question, though. 0 touchdowns after 6 games so far this season. How many touchdowns will the Don score this season? You can have the entire season. We have to just focus on the regular season. Let's go all the way through 15 games through Houston or bust, January 9th. How many touchdowns? Rushing, receiving, doesn't matter. He crossed the goal line. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to go 3 or 4 at this point. I don't think what's going to change with the Don. So let me know what you guys think. He got in on Saturday, but they reviewed it and said he was short, even though he was like a yard and a half in. I'm not sure why, but nevertheless, let me know what you guys think for the Don scoring touchdowns this season. Turn to his backfield teammate Blake Corum after 6 games this year. They've really taken the accelerator off Blake Corum, the amount of carries that he's had so far. So we look back 6 games last year compared to the 6 games that Michigan has played this year. The difference in the amount of carries is vast. It is stark, okay? 35 less carries through 6 games so far this year. So just about, 7 carries per game, roughly just shy of that, is what he is getting less. And it's not being picked up by Donovan Edwards, right? The Don's only getting 6, 7, 8 carries a game himself. It's the clock rules in the Big Ten. J.J. McCarthy passing more, passing better. And lastly, Michigan's just pulled their starters earlier and earlier in every single game. The starting offense has only had 1 series in the Rutgers game in the fourth quarter all season long. So I like what Michigan's doing here. I think, unfortunately, it means that Blake Corum is not going to get the national accolades that he did last year, where he was, maybe first, second in the Heisman Trophy right up until the Illinois game where he got injured right before halftime, didn't really play the rest of the season, got in for like 2 snaps against Ohio State. Clearly, he couldn't go. So I don't think Michigan's going to have Blake Corum be, top 1 or 2 for the Doak Walker or a first-team All-American or breaking touchdown records at the University of Michigan like they would have last year. And frankly, at this point, he might be trending to have a lot less yards than he did last year, 1,450 yards or so in only 10.5 games last year. Through 6 games, 494 yards, still averaging over 6 yards per carry, and is 1 touchdown off of last year's pace. 10 this year, had 11 after 6 games last year. Malachi coming in with a question. Thoughts on the secondary and how far they are coming along with the injuries and rust? Well, I will go through the snap counts because I think the injuries were something that probably was a little overblown the first 3-4 games of the year. You get into Big Ten season, Rod Moore returns, Will Johnson returns. Keon Sabb has started all 6 games, right, in replacement of Rod Moore. He got the pick 6 along with Will Johnson on Saturday. We'll tell you more about the snap count here in a second, but here's the deal that we've made. I've looked forward into the future, and Michigan, Indiana Saturday. The number of new subscribers that we get on today's video could be 10, could be 20, could be 50, 60, 70. Whatever it is, that number, that's the amount of points that Michigan is going to score. Home Saturday, big noon kickoff, 12 o'clock from the Big House. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. 28,000 subscribers strong. And if you've not done so yet, help us out by sending that link, youtube.com/MichiganTV. It's down in the comments, the description. You guys know it. Text it to your friends. Share it on your Michigan football Facebook groups, whatever you have. Help us organically grow this audience. But make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. Snap count from Minnesota. Will Johnson, right? Missed a couple games early on, was limited in the 3rd, 4th games, but last 2 games, you could say he's up there with Mikey Saterstrom, Mason Graham as Michigan's best defenders on the field. Had the pick 6, second snap of the game. Saterstrom up there. Josh Wallace. He is a player for this secondary that I think is being his role is being diminished just a little bit. I'm not sure if it's that the coaching staff doesn't really trust him, whether or not he's not performing well in practice, not really sure. But I was surprised to see that he had 34 snaps. A lot of those came in the second half because early on, just like that last play before half when Saterstrom got burned down the sideline, he was not out there at the outside corner outside of Will Johnson. It was actually Michigan's nickel corner, Mike Saterstrom. So we'll see how things progress with Josh Wallace. There is a conversation out there that Michigan's best five is actually Will Johnson, Sanders Stroll, Rod Moore, Makari Page, and Keon Saab. So 3 safeties, a slot corner, and only 1 true corner. If that's what Michigan goes with, I think you're going to struggle against Ohio State potentially, but that could be the best 5 in the secondary that Michigan has coming up over these next 4 or 5 weeks. Other guys, fifth-year man Quentin Johnson, DJ Waller Jr., the freshman, Amarian Walker back from injury, and Caden Colasar missed all last year at the safety position with an injury. He got in for 11 snaps. The secondary looks fully healthy right now. You've got 7 players who have played meaningful time throughout this year. It's going to help when things come down to Penn State on the road, Ohio State, the Big Ten championship game, college football playoff, national championship game, and that's exactly what you need. You saw it with Blake Corum. You see it with the secondary. Michigan is getting a ton of other players, backups, more snaps. It's going to help down the road. It's going to keep Michigan fresh, and maybe it gets them over the hump in the college football playoff. Got a bunch of friends going to the Michigan game on Saturday. One of them has never been to Ann Arbor, so he said, where should we go? A group of 4 dudes, Friday night in Ann Arbor. I said, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to restaurants in Ann Arbor on Friday night, so I wanted to put the question to you. Where should I send my friends? They said, cost is no option. So it could be steakhouse, it could be sushi, whatever you guys had. Go down in the comments. Let me know the best restaurant on a Michigan football weekend to go to for 4 dudes in their late 30s on a Friday night. Let me know what the suggestions down there, and I'll let you guys know next week where they ended up going, but appreciate your feedback on this question. Bill Graves, my man Billy Graves, always in the comments, always in the live chats here on the Michigan Football Report. He says, do you think resting our stars as much as we have could come back to haunt us when we have to play a full game such as Penn State? I hope not. I think it could only help, okay? I really think that it could only help that Michigan is getting third stringers at running back, at quarterback, at other different positions, more playing time throughout the year. Hell, we saw what Jack Tuttle did this past week, right? He completed a pass. He converted a 3rd down and 18 down inside the red zone, got down to the 1-yard line. Michigan punched it in. Kalel Mullins is looking like he could be a player. The secondary has 7 players. The linebackers, the defensive line is too deep. So the only reason it's going to make a big difference is if Michigan just gets out of sorts, where J.J. McCarthy and Corum and the offense is in the game in the 4th quarter, and they just don't know how to react to it. That kind of happened last year against TCU, and that's why I'm leading to this question here from A-Train132. He says, Yoder, Michigan's been hyped up the last 3 seasons. We haven't been able to win a bowl game. 6 straight postseason losses for Michigan, of course, not including the 2 Big Ten championship games. What would you say needs to happen to finally get over the hurdle this season? I want to piggyback that with the questions about not playing a full game, because what I saw last year, what I saw the year before with Georgia, maybe not as much, but you've seen in prior years for Jim Harbaugh, is they don't seem to come into these bowl games after 4 or 5 weeks off prepared to play. I think you can make a very strong argument. I think there's some Michigan football players who maybe have alluded to this, that they took TCU for granted. They saw a team that lost to Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game. Michigan was favored by 7+ points. They were just going to cakewalk through TCU, have so much more talent to them, and go right and play the winner of the Georgia-Ohio State game. Didn't happen, right? Second point there. What is the plan when the plan isn't working? That's exactly what happened against TCU. You throw a pick 6 early. You get inside the 5 twice and come out with 0 points. You go for it on 4th down, don't get it. You fumble at the goal line. 2 times inside the 5-yard line in the 1st quarter, no points. A pick 6 in the 1st half, a pick 6 in the 3rd quarter. Long touch, 70-yard touchdown pass right when you cut the score to the game to 1 score late on. I think it was right at the end of the 3rd, early 4th quarter. The plan didn't go as is, and it took Michigan like 2 quarters. It was like middle of the 4th quarter till they really figured out how they had a chance to beat TCU. And frankly, when it came down to, it was just too little, too late for this team. Got the ball back with under a minute, and they just didn't have enough time or timeouts to put things together. So, gotta prepare. Take every opponent seriously. I think that's a big knock on Jim Harbaugh's resume in the postseason at Michigan, and you have got to have a plan for what to do when the plan doesn't go well. You're probably going to see that in the road against Penn State. I'm sure you'll see that at times against Ohio State, and absolutely going to see that should Michigan, which we expect them to, make the college football playoff for a 3rd straight year. Ooh, little tickle in my throat there. Next question coming in from Daniel Mocoro. Which game do you think the Don is going to come back into form and start looking like himself again? I'm calling it this week, Jack. It's a little Preston Yoder early birthday present. My son's birthday is on the 20th, bye week for Michigan, so it's a week from Friday. We made a deal. It's been like ice cream or a toy or staying up late or something like that. If the Don scores a touchdown, no touchdowns, 6 games. And frankly, his stats have stunk, right? 177 yards, 128 through the air. They got him going earlier in the season. He had a 4-catch game. He had a 5-catch game, but it's kind of dwindled every game as Michigan's gone on. He did have 14 carries a couple weeks ago against Nebraska, but still, they put up 40 yards or something like that. That 3.5 yards per carry is so uncharacteristic for Donovan Edwards. So my prediction, it's going to happen this week against Indiana. He's going to have 60, 70 through the air, break over 100 yards, get in the end zone, and I'm finally going to be able to wake up Sunday morning or Saturday afternoon in this case, tell my son, the Don scored a touchdown. The deal we made, whatever it turns out this week for your birthday, you get it because Donovan Edwards did not let you down. Preston, turning 6 years old, turning 7. Donovan Edwards, number 7. All things are, coming together here for the Don. It's all coming together. It's like karma. It's like things shifting in the earth. Like me going to win the. I thought yesterday, Jack, I was going to win the Powerball. It did not come together. I was already kind of thinking about what I was going to buy. Would I give everybody here at Chat Sports $1 million, $2 million? I don't know. You could. But alas, I didn't win it, so I'm going to have to play again here coming up. I think it's on Wednesday or Thursday. The Don, it's all going to come together for you this Saturday at home against Indiana. But interesting kind of transition here, just thinking about the Don. He's not performed up to snuff this year. He is not putting together the kind of season that I think many Michigan football fans or national pundits or draft nicks have put together. Unless something changes here, he's going to come back next year. So who will Michigan starting running back be in 2024? I think the top candidates are Donovan Edwards, Kalel Mullings, Cole Cabana, Ben Hall, we haven't seen in a few weeks. Let me know who you guys think down in the comments. Michigan starting running back next season. Mark Michkowski, a long-time MFer, he says, if Harbaugh and Moore sends a play to hand Mullings the ball with 38 seconds left on 3rd down, up 6, no timeouts, does JJ, 1, hand the ball off? Okay, that's option 1. That's the coaches called in. 2, take a knee. 3, deliberately stumble and fall, kind of faking you out. Oh, I fell down, fell to the ground, plays over. Or 4, call a timeout and likely walk over to the sideline and say, hey, Harbaugh, hey, Sean Moore, what the fuck are you thinking here? This is the Miami scenario. I know where you're going here, Mark. You're blowing my mind here. You're melting my brain. He also says, does Nugent false snap or step on JJ, whatever it is? Did you guys see this game? Miami, Georgia Tech, 30 seconds left in the game, 3rd down. They were in Georgia Tech territory, right? They're the 25-yard line. All they had to do was kneel the ball, and they may have had to kneel one more time. They had another snap, but Georgia Tech had no timeouts. There was no way they could stop the clock. They handed the ball off. The guy fumbled, and then even worse than that, they went 75 yards in 2 passes, and they threw a 50-yard touchdown on the last play of the game. Where was the Hail Mary defense? You had guys at the 20-yard line. You roll out to the right, and a guy just haphazardly just floats down the field behind the secondary, catches the ball, scores a touchdown. Maybe the worst ending, even worse than 2015 Michigan. He had trouble with the snap. So I get where you're going there, Mark. Whatever Michigan does, don't be Miami. In this scenario, J.J. McCarthy should just take the snap and turn, and just like in Varsity Blues, throw the ball to the sideline, and smoke Harbaugh, Sherman Moore, whoever called the plays, right in the face, because that would be the worst play call in history. I can't believe Tyler Van Dyke actually handed that ball off. You got to have some common sense if you're the quarterback, if you're any player on that offense. And that has been today's Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. We've got another great show coming up for you on Wednesday. Make sure you support our sponsors, Roan, RHONE.com/chatsports. Till I see you guys tomorrow, go Blue.